it's Diana Pascal. Welcome back to your practice. Class today is all about the hips. It's going to be a deep, slightly advanced hip opening sequence, all very grounding at the wall with props, very slow and alignment based. So we're really going to focus on the pelvis, the hip flexors, and the outer hips, looking at our lower half, the first floor of our house. This is our foundation for all other postures. So this is really getting you into the root and the foundation for everything else you do in asana. We are going to use props. So ideally, you would have 2 blankets, or you could grab towels, and then something to maybe prop yourself up on. It could be blocks, it could be a bolster or cushions. So we're going to get started here at the wall. So put a flat blanket, just like this, all the way up against your wall, and then take another one and just fold it so it's a little bit narrower. And that is going to give you something to sit on for pigeon. And we're going to get started with our knee, our left knee here, and our right knee forward. So we're going to step into a lunge. So go ahead and wiggle your left knee back onto the blanket. You can always use blocks underneath your hands, and you'll lunge your right foot forward. And then go ahead and slide your left knee as far back. Ideally, it's literally at the wall. And you might notice right away, this is a big stretch in your left hip flexor, and that's the point. So adjust yourself if you need. Could be a couple inches away from the wall. And then what I like to do here is, ideally, we're not avoiding the stretch by moving our butt to the wall. So you want to move your pelvis, your butt forward away from the wall. And then just do like a tiny cat-cow here. And as you do that, you'll notice that when you lengthen your tailbone down, then you're getting this little stretch in your left quad hip flexor, a little bit more than when you stick your butt back, yeah? So it's so important to be able to do both a very slight anterior and posterior tilt at the pelvis. So our cat-cow, our forward bends and back bends are initiated from the pelvis. And we want to have that range of motion. So here it becomes more challenging to heavy the tailbone on this left side, yeah? So go ahead and do a couple more. Good. And then keep yourself in neutral so you're not scooping too much into posterior, not heavying the tailbone too much, but you're also not avoiding the stretch, sticking your butt back, yeah? So you see this fold in your left hip. We want to slightly get rid of that fold, yeah? Okay, take your arms up by your ears. We'll do a little back bend. Grab opposite elbows. Try to get the bony part of your elbow in the center of your palm. Pull your elbows up, lift your chin, lift your chest. Eventually the arms might hit the wall, and you're finding this full back bend. Full breath in, press that left foot into the wall, pull your right foot backwards. Another breath in and out. So nice. Come all the way up. And we're going to do a twist. So you're going to take your elbow and hook it outside the right thigh. And you can make a ball in the mitt if you want. Put your left hand into a fist, right hand on top. And think that you're finding the crown of your head going forward and your tailbone going straight back. So you're revolving around your center axis, the plumb line of your body. If you feel good here, stay there. If you want to go for a deeper twist, see if you can slide your armpit where your knee is, and you might take your left fingertips down. Rotate, look up, right arm up. Hugging the right hip in. Right palm faces out. Full breath in. Full breath out. Good. Bring your hands inside your right foot. We're going to take the wrist down on the mat so that your wrist is lined up with your ankle. Yeah. And your knee pushes into your arm. And then you revolve again from the center axis, the opposite direction. Left arm goes up. Good. If you wanted to, you could actually flip your right wrist so your thumb turns in. And again, the heel of the hand's still in line with the ankle, so your fingers are going to be behind your foot. The knee pushes into the upper arm and you rotate. And you might look up and breathe. So nice. Release your hands. And just for a minute, you can turn your right toes out into like a lizard shape, and you could come onto your forearms. Put your elbows down on the mat, let your hips go forward. Take a moment to scoot your back knee all the way to the wall. If it's not, you can put your hands on bricks. And we're going to slide your right shin in front of your second blanket. So ideally, you have something a little higher just for underneath your hips. So take a minute to set it up if you don't have that, and make sure that your shin is not on the blanket. So what we're doing is we're giving a little lift to the hips, and this allows the hips to, or the pelvis to rotate slightly forward, which is more towards our neutral and anterior tilt. And so that allows the thighs to go down. So we're not stuck in our pelvis. Good, so you might stay here for a few breaths in this pigeon variation. Again, the back knee ideally is all the way at the wall. So you're getting a nice opening in the back hip as well. You might feel this in your outer right hip. And from here, we'll take a few breaths in a folded pigeon. So I like to put a block, could be medium height, could be low height, under my breastbone. And then my forehead can go on my hands. And we'll take about 5 breaths here. So just allowing yourself to rest in the shape. You can always rock a little left and right. You don't have to be perfectly still. But just folding our pigeon. Deep breaths. And then we will take a side bend to the right. So you're going to walk your hands out and over to a big half circle towards the right. And you might take your belly button on your right thigh. That's where we're going. And then go the other way, all the way to the left, away from your knee. Big side stretch. Good. Come back up. If you feel really strong here, you might take your arms up by your ears, find a little back bend. Good. And we're going to do a twist. So I like to put a block underneath my left ear. You're going to do thread the needle, left shoulder down, look to your right, right arm goes up. You can slide your right arm around your lower back, or you can take that ball and mitt twist to the right again. Deep breath in and out. Right arm over your ear. Come back up, and we're going to swing the left leg around. Cool. So you're going to sit on your sit bones so that just the edge of your buttock bones are coming off the blanket. And we're going to stack the left ankle over the right thigh. And if the left knee is lifted a lot, you could always sit higher. And then we'll start by rotating to the right. So just finding a little revolution, revolving around yourself. And we're just finding all the edges of our pelvis here. Try to keep your feet kind of engaged so you don't let your ankle kind of roll in and get all wrinkly. So as your feet are engaged, it keeps your hips engaged. Because even though this is a seated posture, we want to be active in our legs. Cool. Again, sitting up. Sit bones on your blanket. If you feel good here, you could walk forward and come into a little forward fold. Deep breaths, flex your feet, hips back, heart forward. Deepen your breath. Maybe slow your breath down if you can. And if you want to go further, you could always pop your elbows on a prop. Maybe the elbows can find the floor. Your forehead could rest on something. Maybe you go a little further over time. If you have more time, you can stay longer. We're going to set this up on the other side. So the left leg will be lunged forward and the right knee goes to the wall. So ideally, again, the knee is basically at the wall. Your left foot's on your mat. And make sure you have something underneath your right knee for some cushion. And then you're just doing a very subtle cat-cow. So this is allowing you, as you heavy your tailbone, to find a little bit more stretch in this right hip. So again, if your butt goes back to the wall, you'll see that you have this crease in your right hip. And really, all back bends start at the hip crease, right? And this is where forward folds start as well. So a forward fold is a crease in the hip, and a back bend is an opening in the front of the hip. So to find a full expression of any back bend, we want to be able to open the hips. So as you cat-cow, hopefully you feel a stretch. And maybe your hips are really open and you don't feel anything. So that is possible. And then again, come to about a neutral position. So your pelvis is not overly tilted forward or tucked. So a neutral pelvis. And then you can take your arms up, grab opposite elbows, and then put the other hand on top so you get the opposite grip. Wiggle your chest up, lift your vision up, take the arms all the way to the wall. Maybe let your pelvis go forward a little bit more so you're finding more of a back bend. Deep breath in and out. And come back up. Cool, we're going to find this twist. So hook your elbow outside your thigh and put your hands in prayer. Make a fist with your bottom hand and push your left hand on top. So a ball in the mitt. Trying to lean to the right or to the left. So find the spine is centered. So think crown of your head and tailbone on a spit, on a straight plumb line. So you're revolving around yourself. Stay where you are, or you could put your armpit all the way on your knee, right fingertips down, left arm up. Revolving at your chest. Looking up. Breathing in and out. Full breath in, one more. Exhale, release. Bring your hands inside your left foot. Line up your wrist with your ankle, either normal hand or turn the thumb to the left. And again, make sure the ankle and the wrist still touch, the knee and the upper arm touch, and you revolve it open to the right. Maybe look to the right, maybe look up. Turn your palm to face forward. Good. Breathe in. Breathe out. Release. Turn your left toes out a little bit, like ballet first position. Maybe scoot the right knee back if it's come forward. Try to get it all the way to the wall. And pop your elbows on the floor if that's available. Couple breaths here. Keep moving the hips, the pelvis forward. So the more the hips go back to the wall, you're avoiding that stretch in the right hip flexor and the right quad. Cool. Hands on bricks. That'll give you a little support to slide your shin forward in front of this blanket. And I just have an extra blanket folded. You are more than welcome to give yourself whatever height feels good. So what you want to feel is that you are really in the center of yourself with your pelvis. So you're not leaning to the left hip. And with your pelvis centered, that right thigh is going straight back. So if you look back and check it, pelvis, the frontal hip bones are like two beams shooting forward. Couple breaths here, lift it in your chest. And then if you're ready and you'd like to fold, you could put a block underneath your breastbone. And your hands can rest on your forehead. And allow your breath to slow down and deepen. Try to relax your chest on something. And then we will add our side bend. You can crawl your hands up and over to the left, lift your belly button up and over your left thigh. Try to get your chest down onto the thigh. Crawl up and around, big half circle to the right, away from your knee. Open up the left side of your ribs. And let's add a twist here. So we'll thread the needle to the left. And if you want, you could put a block underneath your right ear. Slide that right shoulder down. Pop your elbow down. The left arm can go around your lower back. You might even find your foot. You can assist yourself in the twist. You can also take ball and mitt, pushing the elbow down. Rotate. Keep grounding that left hip down. Ideally, don't come out of it. Deep breath in and out. And then we'll find our double pigeon fire log shape. So sitting up, again, with just the edge of your sit bones, your hips on the blocks. And then try to find your ankle perfectly lined up with your knees. So as opposed to like the legs, the foot inside the knee, yeah? So take it a little bit narrower. So when you look down, you'll see a little triangle. I like to roll my thighs in. My butt goes out. And again, you'll see a little triangle between your legs. Ankles and knees are stacked. Engage your feet. flex the feet, but kind of push the balls of the feet out a little bit and just keep your hips engaged. And let's rotate to the right. You could put your hands on blocks. You can put your hands on your hips. You can just put your hands behind you a bit. Go the other direction, circling around yourself. Come up to the center, take your arms up, grab opposite elbows, lift your chest. Good. And then when we start to walk forward, instead of just pulling your torso down or dropping your head, think that you're like wiggling your butt back as you lengthen your sternum forward. So you're lengthening out of the torso to fold and hinge at your hips. Yeah? You should feel a difference. Instead of closing the front body, you're opening the front body into the stretch, wiggling the hips back. And you could do like little mini cat-cows here, or mini revolutions, mini circles. If you want to pop the elbows down and stay a little longer, you can do that. Keep your feet active. You can always put your head on a block, trying to hold your breath. Beautiful. And we can extend the legs out, maybe put a blanket or a couple blocks under your knees so you don't straighten your legs all the way, and just let your head go down. Take your knees to your armpits to your knees. I like to rock my feet forward and back. Let your head go down. Breathe into your back. And then come back up. Beautiful. You can always sit in Virasana to finish out your practice. So a block on the wide setting, whatever height is good. Grounding. And this is a nice symmetrical seat. Butt bones are back and the pelvis is nice and lifted up in a neutral position so that the spine is tall and available. So you can sit here for a moment and simply notice the effects of your practice. I like to lift my knees one at a time and pull them forward to release the skin underneath my knee. And with your eyes closed, I invite you to really bring your breath into your body through your imagination. Send your breath into the lower floor of your body, your first floor, your basement. This is your foundation. This is where we're working today. And just tune in. Notice if your breath can really fill up the lower floor on your inhale, going all the way to your perineum, to your hips, grounding you, plugging you into the earth. And then from there, you can move your awareness up from the hips, up the spine, up through the crown of your head. So feeling that as much as you are rooting down and stable, in your lower floor, it's only from there that you can rise up and have this sense of levity and capacity and connection to what's around you, what's above you. So it's through this grounding practice that we connect and become more fluent in our lower body so that we can rise up. And you can bring your hands together to honor your practice and bow to close. Namaste. Thanks for joining, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.